Okay, welcome back to Shooting It Straight. I recently had somebody ask me why I don't have any videos out relating to practice drills or shooting drills. Now, I think you know what I'm talking about. You see these all the time on almost every YouTube gun channel that purports to train concealed carriers and defensive shooters. And there are literally hundreds and hundreds of these drills out there. Uh, such as the El Presidente, the 9 and 9 drill, the 15 to the third drill, whatever, and, hundreds of other such fun little drills that really doesn't prepare you for any sort of real life lethal encounter. But, to answer the question directly, I don't have any videos regarding different practice drills simply because I don't do any practice drills, or at least not what I consider to be a drill. Okay? Because it seems to me that most of these drills are designed for competitive or target shooting and are not really suited for defensive practices, even though they all claim that the drills are for concealed carriers. Now, if you think about it, here's the commonality of them all. All right, these drills are all very well structured. They all use some sort of graded scoring system. They all include strict time constraints. They all involve a specific number of shots. They all focus on tight accuracy and tight group sizes. The targets they use are not realistic. With the multiple small targets on a big single large target, or bullseye targets, or targets of other shapes like triangles, rectangles, squares, 3x5 index cards, and so forth. Now, if you like to practice these drills, that's okay. I'm not here to say that you're wrong. I'm just saying that personally, I would rather spend my time and money on practicing drills that are actually based much closer to reality. As I said, the current drills have nothing at all to do with defensive shooting under high stress conditions. In fact, some can even be dangerous if tried in a real life deadly force encounter. Now let me expand on that. Okay, for example, in most situations, most deadly force situations in a civilian setting, civilian setting, you're just not going to be able to count your shots under the immense stress of a gunfight. So why make that a part in your drills? Likewise, you won't be able to close an eye and line up the sights perfectly. Okay, you'll have zero ability to control your trigger pull, because I promise you, you'll be slapping the shit out of it. I can promise you that. And you'll also never feel or hear any type of trigger reset. You'll forget all about anything related to a trigger reset. So again, why practice those things in your drills? And, it's also highly unlikely that you'll be able to focus on your front sight, especially in any situation where the bad guy is coming at you. Yet these drills all stress front sight focus. Listen, front sight focus is useful only for precise shots taken from an appreciable distance, not for close-up attacks. You also will definitely not be shooting at 3x5 index cards or tiny triangles in the real life fight. You'll be shooting at a human silhouette figure. So why not practice using that human silhouette figure target? Doesn't that make sense? These drills and skills are fine for target shooters or competitive shooters, but for concealed carriers, I see it as a general waste of time and ammo, and potentially dangerous. As I mentioned, I much prefer to use that time and ammo practicing for real life situations. The thing is, as I watch videos of these drills, I can't begin to imagine any sort of deadly force situation where a concealed carrier might actually perform any of those techniques that are used in any of those drills. Now, however, there are a couple of those drills that I do agree with. Drills that are designed to keep your hits clustered or grouped reasonably close is a very useful practice because it can result in keeping your hits on your attacker in real life. Now, you certainly won't be able to land, say, 4 hits within a 2-inch group on your attacker like you do in practice. But because you practice keeping fairly close groups, your 4 hits will now have a much better chance of resulting in what we call combat accuracy, which means your shots will be staying in the center of mass area of the attacker most of the time. And that's the whole goal of that. Likewise, and you've seen this on some of those drills too, and I agree with it, shooting targets that are half size or a reduced size on the range can significantly increase the chances of you making solid hits on your full size attacker. Okay, you get used to shooting small targets at 10 yards. Well, that target's going to be much easier to shoot under stress when it's a life-size target then, because you're so used to shooting the smaller one. All right, so I do encourage those drills that use these techniques, as long as the drills are performed only in real-life scenarios and not in a target shooting environment. Now, my practices, and I don't call them drills, I just call them practices. It's probably the same thing though. Mine are completely different from all of the standard and popular drills out there these days. And I have only a few, but they're not strictly structured simply because deadly force events are not strictly structured. There is no scoring that takes place in my drills, since human incapacitation is not caused by a numerical aggregate. All right? There's no timers except for the draw to first shot practice. That's important. You need to know your time on that, and you need to get it as short as possible, as small as possible, because that is important. There's also no set number of shots to fire in any of my drills because we have no way of knowing how many shots will be required to incapacitate now, do we? No, we don't. And caliber doesn't matter, okay? You are required to move, actually move in my drills, as opposed to standing still. Don't let your range rules get you killed on the streets. And there's no fast reloading done in my drills, since you only have about a 2% chance of ever having to reload during a fight anyway. And in my drills, good accuracy consists of all hits landing in the paper plate sized torso circle, the size of a paper plate. So that's why I don't demonstrate any drills except for the ones I've already published, videos I've already published. There's only a couple of them. And I do have a couple of others that are in the works right now. But it's clear to see that my drills are far from the typical current drills you see today. Mine are different because they are reality-based and not based on theoreticals or on high speed and precise accuracy. And I don't try to hang some catchy name on them. In fact, most of them don't even have a name. My advice is to avoid trying to learn a crap ton of different and nifty shooting methods and drills, because you'll never master any of them that way. Just stay with the handful of basic defensive shooting fundamentals and practice those. It is always better to master just a handful of skills than to practice 200 drills and not be able to master any of them. Just keep it simple by practicing only the skills that are needed to win a real-life deadly event. Most of the current drills you see today do not include any skills you will actually need to use in a true deadly force event. All right, I hope I've answered that question sufficiently, and I hope you understand my point of view on this topic, because that's all it is, my point of view. I'm not asking that you agree with me, just that you look at it from my perspective for a minute, okay? So thank you so much for watching. I'm Antonius, and I have been shooting it straight with you. Ciao.